What is up, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're getting into a playlist from Film Odyssey, diving into a few tracks here. I believe there is 5 on this one. The longest being the first, the longest being the project from Genesis Briar P. Orange and his psychic TV project, Burning Old Home. There's some really cool notes about him in the PDF that Film puts together. He always puts together really painstakingly researched and well assembled PDFs for my and your reading pleasure to help educate us a bit more on what's going in here. This is the longest track here. It's a little over 13 minutes. There's a really cool write-up on this guy and what he's done. He was a part of the highly influential Throbbing Gristle True Industrial Project, which I've actually listened to all their stuff, and we could really see how much of that influence inspired later industrial and even the electro-industrial movement, which I tend to prefer personally because I do like the actual musical elements. And I did not realize that, I didn't do enough research into them to realize that Genesis was a major part of that, and so such a part of so many different influential industrial and electronic acts out there. This is his psychic TV project. The track is Burning the Old Home. It's 13 minutes and 16 seconds, and let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? Here we go. This is easy to get into. Very slick, almost 70s, like psychedelic guitar tones, really rich. Cool bit of reverb on there, touch of delay. This is definitely something I can grab onto right off the bat. Wow, killer build there. Love the vocal tone. Got such a cool tone. Love the richness of the bass work. Drums are mixed really well. Really cool hi-hat work. A little pattern the drummer's doing back there. Also like that little shuffle on the snare. A lot of feel being employed. Love how the music's so catchy, it's hummable. You can really lock into that melody. We felt our roots in space. We felt our roots. Almost reminds me of a Candlebox in that riff, believe it or not. We felt our roots in space. We felt our roots in. Pretty sure this has got to be in drop D. Love the trails on those drums. They recorded it in a really nice room. This is very hypnotic. Really get those very occult lyrics there. Really cool piano coming in there. That's an awesome addition. Cool note choices there as he goes up and comes out with his voice. Awesome choice of the violin there. Love how those additional instruments are subtle and they just fade out. Great build into that solo. Outstanding lead playing here. Love those big bends and that tremolo picking there. Sounds like he's using a Les Paul of some kind, or possibly a semi-hollow body. Those rich, meaty tones. Probably a Les. Or possibly even a Gretsch. His vocals almost remind me of a storyteller sitting around a campfire with a guitar, just kind of listening to that story, kind of like what Abbott's vocals do in For Me an Immortal, where you just have the music around this guy that's kind of not necessarily always singing so much as he is almost speaking. in a musical sense.
Dreams we call roads or ego. Dreams we call roads or ego.
Love that bass work. It's been solid and consistent throughout the entire track so far, but he does take chances and accents here and there, all the while being tightly in that pocket, locked in with the drummer. He's got really impressive control of his voice when he chooses to take it in those bigger notes and really take it in that musical direction where he actually starts to sing.
Do you remember the broken ring?
There's that little subtle hi-hat pattern again. A little bit of pattern on the chinas as well.
Why is it dead? Why is it dead? Why is it dead? The Hierophant of lead.
Get a cool little accent trail out on the left headphone. I'm not sure if that's guitar work, if that's like a subtle B organ accent. Whatever it is, it's really cool.
I worship all priestess and child. I worship all priestess and child. Burning the old home. Burning the old home.
There's that lyric to tie into the title of the track there.
Burning the old
Cool effects on his voice too, a little bit more of that reverb and that delay as he's pulling that last bit out. This lead work is stellar. I almost get a bit of that like early Pearl Jam in some of the lead choices. A lot of tremolo picking there. Very bluesy, some usage of those pentatonics. Good stuff. Good stuff, man. You really hear where the guys from Pearl Jam, the guys from Candlebox really did pick some of this stuff up in that 90s grunge.
burning the old home. Burning the old home. Burning the old home.
I'd be curious to know if those first two records from Candlebox and from Pearl Jam actually came out before or after this. I'd have to look it up. I expected that to be a tough track to listen to. And I was completely wrong. That was awesome. That was really, really, really enjoyable in a lot of ways for me. And that was Psychic TV Burning the Old Home. Really fantastic stuff. Really loved how it kind of has those hallmarks of kind of a industrial or electronic track, or I guess I'd call it an electro industrial track. A lot of that repetition, a lot of those droning passages, but it has that very 70s like psychedelic vibe to it. There's enough different stuff happening that I can latch onto it. There's a lot of really strong melodies. That main riff is so tasty. You get that great overdrive and distortion on the guitar tones, and it's musical enough for me to truly love and not mind that it's 13 minutes. There's a lot of different builds of tension and release there. Great solos, great uses of piano, great bit of that violin that comes in. Really love his voice. Just, it's got a bit of that like oddness to it. You're not getting as much traditional singing, but there's just something about his tone that really resonates with me. And I love it when he does actually choose to really sing more and really take and push his range a little bit up in those higher registers, and some of the way he'll go up, he'll hit a spot, he'll hit a note, and he'll just kind of back off, but he won't really back off in a completely like technical singing style of way. He'll just let the notes drift and let where he wants to go vocally. Kind of all something you would expect from like Keo from Duran Gray in a way. And he's not being precise about it. He's going off feel, and it sounds so good. The solos were awesome. Great tones. You can tell it was probably recorded in the 90s, to be honest. With it clearly being in something like a drop D tuning. I'm guessing it was in drop D. Still had some of those big 70s influences though. The way things were mixed, the great trails you're getting off of the drums. I'd love to know where that was recorded, because it was clearly in a nice drum room with a bit of space. And just, it all sounded great. There were a couple of points in the mix where things conflicted a little bit, because some of the things were both on that same level. But that's okay. It's enjoyable. It's so tasty. I'm always a little iffy when I cover a track that I know is somebody's favorite, but I can comfortably say that I really enjoyed that. I liked every second of it. I'll go back to that one. That was awesome. The next we have up is Imperial, Days Before the Fall. Started in 94 in Germany as a dark doom black metal project. I've actually heard quite a bit of these guys. And they're, let's see here, recorded some stuff in 2006. Recorded some stuff in 2014. Currently recording some new stuff as well. I have not heard this track, and I have not heard any of their newer stuff. So let's get into it. Imperial, Days Before the Fall. Here we go. big orchestral atmospheres to start this out. You know, anytime I cover a playlist from somebody, you can always really get part of that musical identity from the person you're dealing with, the person you're doing your playlist for. And the stuff from film always has a cinematic quality to it. Like, I can always see a lot of this stuff as film scores, or most of this stuff, or if not all of this stuff, is film scores. Really like his vocals. Like the percussion there as well. Cool vocal layering on that tone. Like how those guitars are mixed. Layered, sounds like a 6 and a 12 string in there. Oh, absolutely stellar vocals. Almost operatic. The layering and the backing vocals together, what a texture. That vocal is just hypnotic. All the additional backing, the beat, the organs, and the little things add so much to it. The vocals clearly drive this track. There we go. Of course, definitely, anytime I hear a doom metal band, I always think of that. I can expect that I'm gonna get some of that 70s influence. Do you want those guitar tones to be ballsier, personally? Though honestly, at this point, I'm always curious to know how much of it is the mix and how much of it is the compression that YouTube puts on it when it's uploaded. Great fills here by the drummer. I like that accent guitar line there. Wish I could hear and make that percussion, the actual drum work a little bit more. It's a little jumbled. That was a really cool track. So many different moods and atmospheres. Mix lets it down a little bit for me, but the song itself is beautiful. And quite honestly, I could just listen to the vocals and I'd be absolutely hooked on that track. Because the vocals alone are just spellbinding. There's a lot of things going on, but I can't really make it out because of the mix. So the mix lets it down. The guitar tones sound good. It does sound like there's a cool combination of like a 12 string and a 6 string and some layering going on. I'd love to be able to really pick that apart and really be able to hear it. But just the vocal textures, the layering, the different vocals, it sounds so good. It just gets into my soul quick and forms that emotional attachment, and I'm very invested in it. And it's just, it was a great track to listen to. It's another one that I'd go back to and immediately listen to if I was not shooting a video on it. Very, very catchy. And Phil has said often that he really goes for mood when he listens to a track, and that's really what gets him. And I can completely understand. That track is just full of it, and it sounds great. Next band we're checking out is Zuzu. The track is Scissors. Zuzu's an American experimental and overall great band. Formed in 2002. Chosen song comes off their 2019 album, Girl with Basket of Fruit. All right. Inspiration behind the song is listed here. A collection of suicide notes by Mark Itkind. Heroes of Blues, Jazz, and Country by R. Crumb. The Devil and His Blues. Botanical Sketchworks. And that's cool. So I'll be interested to hear what they sound like. I feel like I've heard a Zuzu track before, but I'm not sure. I have heard a lot of music on this channel. So let's go ahead and check it out. Zuzu, Scissors. Here we go. Cool electronics. Sounds kind of like a helicopter taking off. Like that quickening of the electronic pulses there. The chaos and the moods are already really present. Interesting. Really cool bass line there. Video's highly interesting. Percussion is really interesting, clearly a focal point here. Still haven't really found anything I can grab onto yet. It's really that drum pattern, it looks like. Oh, she needs to learn how to do push-ups.
What's the solution for people like us? Lock on harmonica, bookie wookie clear, sleepy peewee, junior little buddy, jolly roll cacao, geisha park bone, champion K, light a candle, pull
Oh, that push-up form is so painful to look at. Oh. All right. Pulling the string through the hole in her tongue piercing. Interesting.
It would be twice as good if you lay down on the track. Half for the trash and half
Feeling of chaos and madness is cool.
It could be 4 times as good if you lie down there again. A quarter for the gooseberry book.
But this is just not my thing.
Gooseberry book. It was the clarinet that made you dead. Not the country, Connie.
I like the electronic manipulation of percussion there. The really distorted percussion is, or the drum work there is pretty cool. All right. Zuzu Scissors. And I gotta be honest there, that's just not my thing. It's very much, in my opinion, it's kind of a collection of sounds thrown together in an artistic way. It's very anti-music. And I guess if I'm going to listen to music, I want to listen to music. A lot of textures, a lot of spoken word. It really does, once again, of course it clearly is a short film, it really does feel like I'm listening to a soundtrack for a short film, or I'm watching something that's going to be in kind of like a delusional reality sequence in a film. And it works for that, but this is not something I would go out of my way to listen to on my own. When I listen to music, I really do want to have it be music. And watching those attempts at push-ups was painful. But then again, I've done thousands upon thousands of them in the Army. So, and graded PT tests in which push-ups have to be done. So there's a standard in my head for push-ups and a right way to do things. And, well, those were not right. Couldn't really grasp what was going on. It just seemed like a collection of madness. Really interesting, but especially after the first couple of tracks, that just doesn't do it. The first two were so stellar that the expectations were high. The next track on the list is Syndrome, Absence. Syndrome are an experimental music project created by Belgian musician Matteo. I'm not going to pronounce his last name because I'm going to butcher it. In 2009, to explore his personal ideas outside of the groups he works with, the main genre of Syndrome is some form of ambient music, but he also incorporates elements of industrial or even folk sound, while at the same time composing a lot of soundscapes. The song he's chosen is very much not in the ambient genre and comes from the album Floating Veins in 2010. All right, let's check it out. Syndrome, Absence. There we go. lot of the walls of electronics and static and noise going on. Curious to see how this evolves. Alright. We have drum sounds. There's some manipulation to them, but it sounds like it might have started out organic, or at least using organic samples. Sounds like you're getting a little bit of riffage there, or at least something resembling that. That definitely sounds like riffage. Actually kind of sounds like a Metallica riff. I do like the way it's built, and those cool, like, haunting synths, those higher pitched synths that are driving with that bit of phasing going on. Big resonating kick sound is pretty cool. Kind of like the video there, what seems to almost be a middle finger. Slowly getting the semblance of an actual instrumental track. Riffs and cool drum cadence going on, the electronic cymbal samples in there. Interesting choice, the fading to black there. For a second, I was wondering if my monitor had turned off. It's interesting. It's cool how it kind of builds into more of a like a rock or a metal track, but I don't know if it's part of like a concept record where you kind of get that build and build and build. But it's kind of like the new Tool record where it's like it builds and builds, and but that was supposed to be paused. So let's dial that back, pause that. But it builds and builds and builds, but I get no release. So the tension's there. I don't know if that would happen in a further track on the record. I mean, it's cool. It's interesting. I do like the way it built. I like the kind of those really distorted riffs. But overall, it's another one of those tracks that it's very ambient. It's like it'd be cool in the background. Like if I'm playing video games or like grinding out in World of Tanks or World of Warships or replaying an RT, a real-time strategy game or some kind, or doing any video game that requires a grind, I'd probably pop that on in the background just to have a cool background music. But it's not really something I would listen to normally when I want that stimulation that I normally get from listening to music. But it's very cool, again, in that like thematic sense, that film sense, or that using it as a soundtrack to something. And for that alone, I think it's pretty cool. So that might actually go into a playlist or something for those arduous video game grinds. If I'm grinding out a new ship line or something. Because I could truly see that working for that kind of application. And because of that, I definitely dig it. More than I thought I would, and more than I thought I would at first. It kind of grew on me towards the end. And if I think about it, not as actually more as I'm commenting on it here, if I think about it more as something that I would have as a background piece, the more I actually enjoy it. Because so if I were to probably go back and re-listen to that immediately and think about it in a different context, I probably will have more appreciation for it. Last band we're getting into is called Daughters. The track is Less Sex. Daughters is an American rock band formed in 2002. Their early material is predominantly described as grindcore. All right. While their later material has been described as noise rock, Daughters have been described as industrial rock, no wave, math rock, mathcore, post-punk, experimental, math metal, alternative metal, art rock, and art metal. Chosen song comes from the 2018 You Won't Get What You Want. So I guess if not getting what you want, then Less Sex is either getting what you want or not getting what you want. Anyway, be curious to see which part of Daughters shows up here. Track is Less Sex. Last one we got, and here we go. Cool place to film this. Kind of that electronic white noise and static building well. There's a cool bit of effect on his vocals, and I like it. I like that treatment.
I let it in from the cold. I let it in from the cold. Let a long way down. Let a long way down.
I like the way it's built. I like the dramatics of his performance here in the video.
I let it into my head.
Vocal's so catchy, I want to sing it. That's pretty awesome. It just kind of naturally hits you and grabs you a little bit. Different elements kicking in are really cool. Different noise textures. The way the track is really building. Great way to take all these different poses of her and put them in a shot. A lot of different imagery. Builds well, releases well. Very cool track. A lot of different atmospheres and textures, and again, it's very short film like, which makes complete sense, being that this is a track from Film Odyssey. So I like it. I like it a lot, actually. It's surprisingly easily accessible, and I'm actually really curious about that record as a whole now. That was really enjoyable. It's a great way to end that off. I still think my favorite two actually are going to be the very first track was just incredible, and that was amazing. It's definitely the highlight, like the biggest highlight for me is that very first track. That's just something special. This one was really good in a very different way. And the second track we got into from Imperial was really good because the vocals were just so spellbinding. But this was really good, very, very interesting, and I'm surprised by it. That's one that I could probably listen to just to enjoy, or listen to as a background piece as well. Overall, it's just awesome. Really, really good stuff. Really enjoyable stuff. And I'm very curious to hear more from them. This was a good list overall. It was a nice length. Not over long, but not short. And I had a good time with this one, man. Got another one from Film that I will certainly get to here probably in the next couple of days, as well as some Muck. And getting close to being caught up on Patreon stuff, so I expect more of that to be coming soon. Looking forward to it. Thanks, brother. Thank you so much. This was cool. It challenged me in some ways, and truly a revelation throughout the list is if I look at stuff in a different context, I can find a different love and appreciation for it. And I'm going to have to look at that and try to utilize different lenses when I listen to stuff like this in the future, because now that I think about it, that fourth track could really be cool in certain senses. And I wasn't listening to that originally. I was listening to that way I normally listen to a track. So appreciate helping me out with that revelation, and to have that happen live as I'm recording is pretty cool. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. It certainly is different from what I normally do, and I'm always happy to be challenged as a listener, as a critic, as a fan. Hope you enjoyed it. I love you guys. Thank you to my law enforcement, military, veterans, first responders, what you guys do every single day. As always, you have been awesome. I have been Baldman. I'll see you in the next one. Be excellent to each other. Keep head banging.